Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Devin Haney can't get any respect at all. I don't know what it is with the boxing world and Devin Haney. It's almost like they want to break this young man down, but it's just not going to happen. Devin Haney is very durable. This man is confident in his abilities. He has a strong team, excellent family structure. He has everything you need to persevere through these tumultuous times where he's done the impossible to go over to another country. All the odds were stacked against him. The system was set up for him to fail. And he went to Australia, defied the odds, and he won the undisputed distinction. But what does it take for him to get respect? And at this point, I don't know. Okay? So we know that there are different outfits that like to do their rack and stack as far as pound per pound ratings, right? Or rankings. And ESPN is known for theirs, and then the Ring Magazine is known for theirs. There are others, but those are the two that I like to look at. But ESPN, for some reason, okay, it's very disheartening when you have an outfit like ESPN who's doing these rankings. Now, they have their own criteria. It's a point system where a team gets together and they decide on who they feel based on a point system. They do a rack and stack is part of the top 10, okay? Now, to me, just thinking of pound per pound best fighter, or someone who's going to be in that top 10, I would think if you're separated by gender, that's fine. But for the men, I think at a minimum, we should have all of the undisputed champions in there. At a minimum. That means as the undisputed champion, you either beat multiple people to win the belts, or you beat the man who beat the man who beat the man. And he ended up in position with all the belts, okay? Doesn't matter if you beat one person. Doesn't matter if you beat 4 people. The fact is, you won a fight where you ended up receiving the distinction or being awarded the distinction of undisputed champion in your weight division. So just off the top of the head, you got to think about Devin Haney. You got to think about Jermell Charlo. You got to think about Josh Taylor. That's just right off the top of the head. Got to think about Canelo Alvarez. Okay? That's just off the top of the head. So when I go to look at any pound for pound list, I'm expecting to see those 4 names on there. I'm expecting to see Usyk on there. He's not undisputed, but he's very close. I'm expecting to see Biev on there. He's not undisputed, but he's very close. Okay? Now, just because someone has a belt doesn't mean they get on the list. Remember, there's over 76 belts floating around out there. So not everyone's going to get on there. Just because you have a belt doesn't mean you deserve to be on the pound for pound list. But if you have 3 or 4 belts, or you have all 4 belts, you're undisputed, you deserve to be on the list, in my opinion. But let's just take a look at it, right? So when you look at what ESPN has, right? I'm going to read you the number 1 through 10. And you take from this what you want. But remember, Haney, he should be on there. Jermell should be on there. Josh Taylor should be on there. Saul Canelo Alvarez should be on there. Usyk and Biev. That's 6 right there. So number 1, they have Terrence Crawford. Can't really argue that because of everything he's done. But he's on the list. That's fair, right? Now you Inoue. It depends on what you feel. The monster, he's making noise. But he's on the list as the number 2. Number 3, Earl Spence. Can't really, oh yeah, and he has 3 belts, so he should be on the list for sure. Can't argue that. Canelo Alvarez. So there's 7 names. So there's Canelo. 7 names. We're adding Canelo and Earl Spence, right? Usyk, one of the names we called off. They got Tyson Fury on there. Can't really argue that. Okay? Can't really argue that. Bertabiev is on there. Bivol on there. I don't think he should be on there. Just because he beat Canelo Alvarez doesn't mean he should be on there. Vasily Lomachenko doesn't need to be on there, in my opinion. Shakur Stevenson, I can see that. Devin Haney's not on there. Problem. Jermell Charlo's not on there. Josh Taylor's not on there. Okay? But then the other names. Bertabiev is on there. Usyk is on there. Alvarez is on there, that's 6. Spencer's on there at 7. And then we had Josh Taylor. That would have rounded out to 8. Those are my 8. And then if we want to add 2 more, we could add Terrence Crawford and maybe Tyson Fury. That's 10. But Shakur Stevenson, don't get me wrong, he's an amazing fighter. He's not top 10 pound for pound. But I could see the argument, but he's not top 10 pound for pound. Vasily Lomachenko is definitely not. Bivol's not. And now you can kind of see it, but I think they come after these guys who are undisputed or with 3 belts. That's just my opinion. So that's ESPN. They left Jermell off. Why? I don't know. That is just a slap in the face. And Devin Haney. But at least when you go to the Ring Magazine, right, and you look at the Ring Magazine's rating as far as the pound for pound list, they have Inu as number 1. Okay, same thing with ESPN. Usyk is number 2. Not the same number, but they're in the top 10 list. So they have Usyk. Terrence Crawford, he's on the list. Errol Spence, he's on the list. Alvarez is on the list. But here we go again. You got Lomachenko and Bivol in here. I don't think they should be here. But they do have Josh Taylor. They have Jermell Charlo, and they have Bertabiev. But the names they don't have on here are, they don't have Haney again. So that's horrible. Haney's not on here. And Usyk, Haney, Tyson Fury's not on here. So they dropped off. So Haney's still not on here, and they dropped off Tyson Fury. That's just crazy to me, man. It's crazy. So now that we've covered that, so at least the Ring put Jermell on there, but he's down at number 9 out of 10. ESPN didn't include Jermell or Haney. Haney's not on either one. So why is that? So when we look at Devin Haney, I get it. And this is something that all of a sudden, a lot of these boxing pundits started talking about. After Devin beat Kambosos, when Kambosos beat Teofimo, everybody was talking about how great Kambosos fought, how outstanding Kambosos is, right? I was calling him the Australian Manny Pacquiao because of how he fought, and that's his style. He's an amazing fighter. Let's not take credit away from him. Devin Haney went out there and neutralized him. Devin Haney was a superior fighter. So if Devin Haney can go out there and do that to Kambosos, who I was giving Kambosos credit, everybody else, we can't come now and discredit. How can you discredit Devin Haney? You're discrediting Devin Haney because he beat Kambosos, because of the style that he used to beat Kambosos? That's wrong, man. It's wrong on all levels. Now, I understand in their weight division, you know what? If Devin Haney fights Lomachenko, maybe Lomachenko wins. I think Devin Haney wins that fight. If Devin Haney fights Tank Davis, who knows what happens? If Devin Haney doesn't stay disciplined and keep Tank at a distance. If Devin Haney chooses to stay in the pocket too long, then bad things are going to happen. He's going to get Amir Khan. You know, when you have all the advantages going into a fight except for power, you need to fight a smart fight. Amir Khan should be undefeated. But Amir Khan's heart got him knocked out. On the front end, you look at those first four rounds in Amir Khan fights, especially when he first started, probably the first 20 fights. The speed is crazy. And he didn't stay in the pocket too long. He had fast feet too, so he was able to get out. But if Amir Khan was able to stay disciplined and use his speed, use his reach, use his IQ, Amir Khan could have went undefeated. But Amir Khan wanted to stay in there and bang and trade, and that was his Achilles heel. That will be Devin Haney's Achilles heel if he turns stupid and decides to stay in the pocket and exchange with monster punches. He has shown that he will do that, but he learned from those mistakes going into the Kambosos fight, and he stayed disciplined and won the fight using that stick. Stick meaning the jab. So if Devin Haney was to go in there with a fight with Tank Davis, you got to give Devin Haney a real chance to win that fight. If Rolly, he doesn't have power like Rolly, but if Rolly could use his size advantage to keep Tank at bay, then Devin Haney can. And Devin Haney's more disciplined, and Devin Haney's not going to come lunging in and getting impatient. Devin Haney has more patience than any of those guys. Stays disciplined, works behind the stick, drops an occasional right hand in, drops an occasional check hook, will jab, collapse in to grab you, get shots off, roll out, get behind you. It's a lot of things that he does, especially the foot movement and everything. If you don't have the trained eye, you don't see it. Devin Haney is highly skilled. I'm not saying he's going to get to the 12th round with Tank Davis. What I'm saying is he can. Will he? I don't know. But they got to give him respect. But can't discredit him because of his style. But I do think that Tank, in my opinion, you would have to favor Tank going into a fight with Devin Haney. But you got to give Devin Haney a real chance to pull off the upset. It's a close fight. So when you look at Devin Haney and his situation, you know what? Maybe he's not the best at that weight division. Maybe he's not the best at 135 pounds. But he's still the undisputed champion. But so we can't take that away from him. And when these organizations come out and they put out these lists, be fair. They're not being fair. There's some people out there saying that, they look into things. That's not my style. I just think that sometimes they get it right. They get it wrong. I think they look at Devin Haney and I think they feel that, he's not one of the pound for pound best. And they feel like the belts don't really matter. So they're going to look at other guys. Hell, they don't even have Tank Davis listed on here. They're still putting Lomachenko. So, it's subjective. Jermell Charlo, they only have him on the Ring Magazine. He's listed down at number 9. He's fought everyone in his division. Everyone. And beat everyone. Okay? It wasn't even like really, really close except for that last one. Then he did a rematch and got him out of there, Castano. But Jermell Charlo is a monster. And you're gonna rank him below Lomachenko? You're gonna rank him below Bivol? You're gonna rank him below, even Earl Spence and Usyk and Nayu Inu. I just think that's a foul. My opinion, man. But anyway, man, going forward, you gotta give these guys credit. But Inu is a bad boy. Don't get me wrong. Inu deserves to be on the list. But I just don't know what it is. But it's almost like they want to see Devin Haney fail. Like the thing with Devin Haney, they're approaching Devin Haney like how they approached Floyd and the latter half of Floyd's career. But see, the difference is Floyd had earned respect because of what he did on the front end of his career. And even on the back end, what he did was amazing. But the front end of his career, Floyd Mayweather was a problem. Devin Haney didn't really come out and go that route. He didn't fight, I think it was 17 fights in 12 months or something. Or like in 18 months, something crazy Floyd did. Devin didn't do that. And he wasn't fighting killers like that, And he wasn't demolishing people the way Floyd was. So Devin Haney hasn't quite earned that respect. But going forward, we're going to see what they do because he's going to have the rematch. And he should get Kambosos out. He should beat Kambosos again. But Devin Haney just has one of those styles that either you love him or you hate him. But at the end of the day, when you're an undisputed champion, to me, you deserve to be ranked as a pound-for-pound best. And they're not giving him his due respect. No love for Devin Haney. And when it comes to Jermell Charlo, he's not going to get any love. They just don't like him. Attitude, let me tell you something, man. I've said this in other videos. I said this to my kids. I was just talking about this the other day at a AAU tournament for one of my sons. Attitude and communication, in my opinion, are the two most important things in this world. Come after attitude and communication, come discipline and respect. If you don't have those things, and respect. If you don't have those things, man, life's going to be hard. Life's going to be hard. But I think with Jermell Charlo, the attitude isn't where it needs to be. Some say it's passion. Look, he has an attitude, all right? And he's passionate. He's passionate with an attitude. So what? But it's going to make it hard for people to want to gravitate towards you. Communication. I mean, he speaks his mind. That's communicating. Whether you like it or not, he's communicating. Is it effective communication? I don't know. Is he saying the stuff that we want to hear? No. Is he the most articulate? Hell no. So does he have some room for improvement? Some room for growth? We all do. But it doesn't matter. The man deserves to be on the pound for pound list. Everyone's pound for pound list. The way that he defeated all the guys he fought, the champions, and took belts. Jermell didn't get in there with one person and fight that one person and win all the belts. Now, he didn't hit the lottery. Jermell had to grind. Devin Haney, situation a little different, but it doesn't matter. He's there now. Give him his credit. Put him on the pound for pound list. That being said, I'm going to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Shout out to all the veterans. Thank you guys for your support. Let's see what they're going to do about Devin Haney, man. But I don't think he's going to ever get his respect till he fights like a tank, till he fights Lomachenko. I mean, he's got to beat these guys till he fights Ryan Garcia. I think after he gets those 3 fights, they'll finally give him his respect. But they're going to want to put those fights in front of him because they want to see him lose. He's easy to dislike because he's not controversial. And I'm going to just be real with you, right? Rolly said something. And it caught my attention. Talking about Devin Haney is not being attractive, okay? There are a lot of people who are going to look at this young man and see him as unattractive for whatever reason. But there's nothing unattractive about that guy. And maybe when people look at him, they see something they don't like. Instead of seeing a disciplined young man, great attitude, someone who is trying to do the right thing, someone who has a good family, good support system. This man is generous. He's trying to set the right example. You know, he's young, so some of the interviews, you know, it may be a little bit loud. But he's not overly belligerent and offensive like most of these guys we see. He's someone you can get behind and support. So for whatever reason, when a person looks at Devin Haney and they choose to dislike him, foul on you. You need to support that young man. You're supposed to build champions, not break them down. Beat the mind, not break the mind down. Okay? And as long as they keep ostracizing him, alienating him, insulting him, making fun of him, saying he looked like a monkey and all that other shit, right? That's going to do nothing long term, but eventually take its toll on him. He's mentally strong. He's young. He got a right support system. But when people get out here on social media and they see those mean things, you know, it's horrible. Ryan Garcia is a guy who I don't like him. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't like Ryan Garcia. I try to support that young man, but at every opportunity, he wants to break people down. So you want to break people down? Well, what you get is what you get. Devin Haney is not doing that. At least not that I'm aware of. But give him credit where credit's due. If you're going to give Ryan Garcia credit, who's done nothing, got to give Devin Haney credit. I'm going to leave it as that, man. Y'all keep safe. Shout out to all the veterans. As always, I'm in the breeze.